Today we're talking about same-sex couples fostering.
The conversation starts now.
It's Wednesday the 9th, right here on Rob and Tristan's Foster Life. Welcome to Rob and Tristan's Foster Life. Tristan is on assignment today, and he will actually not be with us this week, but Cindy has decided you're going to fill in on a couple of shows. You're going to co-host with me, and then you're going to co-host one, and we're just going to make it work so that he can get the things done that he needs to do. Cindy is our expert on the show. She has several years in social work. And Joe Mama, she's a mama, but she's also been connected with the foster care system and other ways as well. And a lot of you might know she has an upcoming show called Joe Mama's House. And I think over the next couple of days, we're going to see little tidbits of what we're going to be talking about on that show. So that should be really good. I got a message today from a lady in California who wants us to do some more videos, more for their group of people. And I thought the interesting thing about this is she is in the LA Hollywood area, and she thought that we filmed right there in California. And she says that our show looks nice and professional. And kudos, thank you for saying those wonderful comments to us. But I'm just amazed, like when Ethan and I decided this was going to be a thing 2 years ago, we thought this was going to be a thing like in Missouri.
Right.
And I never realized this is a thing all over the country,
Right.
Canada,
The world.
Our cyberbullying was viewed in full by 2 Romanian families today. And I watch those statistics and I think, man, we never thought we would get a chance to meet all of these wonderful people. But the lady that I met in California today, she's a great lady. I enjoyed talking to you if you're watching. And thanks for being a support. What's in the news today?
Well, it's a sad day.
Yeah.
It's a sad story that we're going to talk about. It kind of tags on to our cyberbullying episode that we did. We learned about Channing Smith from Tennessee, who took his own life on September 23rd as a result of cyberbullying.
Yeah.
Some kids outed him for his sexuality, and it was more than what he could endure, so he took his own life.
You know, it's interesting that you brought this story up today. We did the cyberbullying. We shot it around the same time that this actually happened. And that was kind of my first thought, is I wish that he would have been able to see our show and hear about the different hotlines that you can call. And suicide is never the way. It's never the answer. But also in people who commit suicide's defense, sometimes those things become overwhelming and it feels like it's the only way out. Today, and it's real interesting that you brought this up, our cyberbullying episode for Rob and Tristan's Foster Life is the #1 show that we have ever done here on Foster TV. We've had over 250,000 views worldwide. I called Tristan today, and I'm not kidding. And we talked about this, and Tristan and I decided that that episode, for the whole time that it's in play, for reruns and episodes and whatever, we're going to re-edit that a little bit, and that will always be in memory of Channing Smith, 16, who took his life because of cyberbullying.
Right.
To Channing's family and friends, everybody here at the Foster TV family is praying for you, and we ask that God will give you peace that passes understanding and gives you strength to get through this. And to Channing Smith, we ask that you rest easy, son.
No more trash bag moves for foster youth. Help us buy bags. Donate at fostertv.net. Click the yellow donate button. Foster TV is a HEDFRA production. Only at Foster TV.
Welcome back to Rob and Tristan's Foster Life. I tell you, we had to go right to commercial. That stuff is hard for me because, well, all of us, because we all have amazing children, all three of us, and I think just hearing anything about a 16-year-old and a nice-looking kid, and it's just really hard to deal with. Today we're talking about same-sex couples on Rob and Tristan's Foster Life and fostering. 1 in 5 same-sex couples, 21.4%, are raising adopted children compared to just 3% of different sex couples. And almost 3% of same-sex couples have foster children compared to only 0.4% of different sex couples, according to the Williams Institute at the UCLA School of Law. And I think that is just kind of an amazing thing.
It is.
That same-sex couples are stepping up and have really become predominant.
Right.
Now, one of the things I want to just clearly air out right now, if you're watching, and I know that not everybody agrees that same-sex couples should foster, but when we look at the statistics of abuse cases, it is much lower in a same-sex couple's house than it is in a traditional foster family home. And so the stereotypes, I guess, that have been put with same-sex couples does not hold true when we hold it to the actual facts and to the actual data that we receive from places like UCLA.
I think one of the other interesting points about that when I heard that statistic that kind of surprised me is still how many people reach out to us and say they didn't know that they could foster being in a same-sex relationship.
Yeah.
So I think there are still lots of folks that could foster that would make great foster homes that just don't think they can.
I hear that all the time, and it was by accident. I was working on a case for a judge that had to do with drug court, and the kids had been taken out of the home. So I had to work with not only the judge, but I also had to work with the caseworker for the kids and give reports on progress and all of that stuff for the state and for the judge. And so I was going to be out of town, and so she came to our house, the caseworker, and she said, "How many people live in this place?" And I said, "Oh, just me and Ethan." And she said, "Oh, have you guys ever thought about fostering?" And I said, "Oh, well, we can't foster. We're a same-sex couple." And she just she still lives here in Springfield. Her name is Crystal Hahn, and she watches the show. But she just got this big smile on her face, and if you know her, she has a lot of energy anyway. And she's like, "You can foster.
Yeah.
Same-sex couples are some of our best foster families." And you think about that, in our case, I always wanted a big family, but obviously I'm gay, and that doesn't work the right way.
Right.
And so I just kind of had given up on my dream of having a big family. And God had a different plan. And we have this huge family that we got through fostering and adopting. But here's kind of the thing with that is when you talk about statistics and you look at like abuse and all that stuff, like I waited so long and I wanted that so bad that my children are very like I don't really think I take my children for granted, or you know what I mean?
Right.
Because it was such a precious gift, because it almost at one time to me seemed unachievable. And so I think that people have to look at it that way, that there's a lot of same-sex couples out there that want the traditional family, and they think that they can't have that.
Right.
And the funny thing is, for all you straight people out there that are watching saying, oh, I don't know about all this. You know what the funny thing is people will come to our house, like to spend a day with us or whatever, and we're very involved in our community. And Ethan and I get all the time, well, you guys are just like a normal family. And it's like, yeah, we eat, we do chores, we do laundry, we watch movies. You know, we're just built different.
Right.
But there is more love in our home. And most people, by the time they leave, are sold.
Right.
And said, I'll never forget, do you know Linda Painter?
I only think I know her through you.
Okay, so I'm going to tell on her a little bit. So Linda, she's one of the Baptists, and she's a really, really good friend of mine. And she told me when she first started coming and doing services in our home, when she first met us, she was a little uncomfortable with two guys having kids in their home and babies and all of this stuff. And then we moved, and so she couldn't do our services anymore. Now we get services through Springfield, like our therapy and stuff. And she was one of our therapists. And when we moved, she got really emotional, and she said, I used to feel that way when I first started, but through being with you guys these last couple of years and watching you and watching how you guys love these kids and how you provide for these kids, she said, I feel totally different about. And so I guess for people that are not same-sex couples that are watching today, I encourage you, if you think that it's whatever, maybe go spend some time with a foster family who has same-sex couple, kids. And you're always invited to our house. Sunday is family day, and we have dinner at 3 o'clock, and we have movies, and we have all kinds of stuff to do, and the whole family's together, and you're always invited to our house. When we come back, we're going to talk more today about same-sex couples fostering. Tristan's Foster Life today. It's good to have Jody by my side and Cindy by my side. I just have all my favorite people, except for Tristan. He's actually my favorite, but he's on assignment this week, and that's okay as well. So today we're talking about same-sex couples fostering, and we already kind of went through that a lot of people don't know that they can foster if they're same-sex, and we encourage you to get information if you can. Here in the real near future, Foster TV will have certain services where you can actually go through us and work with our partner for some of these things that we're talking about. But always get information and get involved, especially if you want kids. We have lots of kids out there that need help and that need things. And there's a lot of same-sex couples that have made a difference. My favorite one, and I think I've talked about them before, and they're up there in Canada. And I know we have a lot of Canadian viewers. We love you guys. But there are two guys up there, and they only foster severe medical needs children.
Okay.
So, and when I say, like, so somebody came in and did a makeover on their home to put hoists in so they could hoist the kids out of bed, help them in, putting them into bed, redid like their bathtub area, and they have the most beautiful family, seriously, and they have 6.
Oh. So they just foster to adopt? Have they adopted?
So I'm not sure if they have adopted or not.
Or just fostered?
Yeah, but I know that they fostered in their long term, but I can't remember on the story if they have adopted or not. But they have built themselves a really cool family, and I just love watching that on YouTube. But there's been quite a few stories done about them, and every once in a while my friends will send me that story, and if they send it to me, I've seen it like 100 times, but I have to sit there and watch it again. You know? So there's lots of stories like that. I know you worked with a lot of same-sex couples.
I did. I worked with a lot of couples through when I was doing licensing of foster homes, and then also as a caseworker. I worked with a lot of same-sex couples that were fabulous. I still have relationships with them, and they're some of my favorite people in the world, and I love them. And some have fostered to adopt, some are foster only, some close their license after they adopted. I mean, there's a whole, range of things that how life turns out, for families. And so, but I think it's important that we do this because I think awareness is one of our missions, and we want to bring that awareness to people, and so they know not only are there kids out there that need fostering, but that it's open to so many people that don't know about it.
Yep, and the same-sex couples, for my same-sex couple friends that are watching out there today, people will say, do you choose this? And you know what we say, nobody would choose this. And we've been ridiculed, and I don't care what stage of the game you're at. Obviously, this kid that we were talking about at the beginning, it was about sexuality, so it still happens. And I think that's another cool piece to this. So I was teased and kind of, in the closet and all of these things and had all these feelings. But I think that's also what makes me more of a protective parent. And so when I hear that things are going on at school and stuff, man, I'm on it. Right away. And I think that that's also something that's really cool, that how we can connect with these kids that are going through hard times, because I think any kid, no matter what kind of family you've had some hard times, based on your sexuality and that kind of stuff. Just coming to terms with it alone, no matter where you live, is hard to deal with, and that type of thing. Too. So I think that that's another way that we can, that we kind of connect. There was that lady on the East Coast.
Yes, there was she took in
kids that were...
Oh, hospice then.
Yes, they were all the hospice ones.
There was a lady on the East Coast, and she took in just hospice kids.
Hospice
and
only.
They felt like their service was to give those kids a family and to make sure that they don't die alone.
Right, without family.
And I gotta tell you, I don't think I could ever do that. I could probably do a couple of those, and but I don't think I could do it on a daily. But when I wasn't married and I didn't have kids, and I thought that colon cancer was going to get me. And there was a time where I didn't think I had, my doctors didn't think I had a whole lot of life left in me. And you know what my number one fear was?
Dying alone.
Dying alone. I just couldn't imagine what that would be like. And I remember praying, God, don't let me die alone. I don't want to die alone. And so what they do is so important, and it's probably something that I couldn't do, and I shouldn't say that because whenever I say that, then that gets put in
That's
my
what
life.
happens.
But thank God for those ladies.
I know, and I think that they express that's what they were called to do. Just like, we all have our own callings in what we do, but that was their calling, and that's what they're good at, and that's what they've committed their lives to. And I think that it's so important for us to recognize that, because we all have different callings, but if that's your calling, or if fostering is your calling, or being a volunteer is your calling, I mean, I think those are things that are important.
Yeah. Well, here's what I think is important. When we can start putting color, sexuality, all the little things aside, we're going to be a more effective foster community. I have a gentleman on our Foster TV Facebook page. Go look at it today. And it's a colored guy who adopted 3 white boys. And he talks about how it doesn't matter what your skin color is, they have become a family. My kids come from all different backgrounds. There's 10 of us. But I don't think that there's anybody that could come into our house and spend a day with us and not see the cohesiveness of our family and how we are attached together. And we may not always get along, but I'll tell you what, you throw a wrench into the house, you're gonna see all them kids become like bears. And very protective and very much a family unit. And that's what it's about when we're fostering. When we come back, we're gonna wrap up today, same-sex couples fostering, and I'm gonna tell you about our new campaign. That's why we're talking about this today.
No more trash bag moves for foster youth. Help us buy bags. Donate at fostertv.net. Click the yellow donate button. Foster TV is a HEDFRA production. Only at Foster TV.
So we are back today on Rob and Tristan's Foster Life, talking about same-sex couples fostering. You know what? It's not a same-sex couple thing. It's really if you have the heart to do it. If you're a single person. I was just at the doctor's office on Sunday, and the nurse said, "Oh, we used to foster, but me and him broke up, and so I can't do that anymore." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "Oh, they wouldn't let us single." I said, "You're a nurse? You're single? Oh yes, we need you."
Right.
And she's like, "Really?" And I said, "Yes, go get licensed. We can use you." So it's not about that. What we're trying to do is educate people that there's lots of different ways. You don't have to own your house to foster. You can rent your house. What are some of the other things? Yeah, you can homeschool.
That's always a good question.
You know, there's lots of things, but if you don't go ask the questions, or if you don't see these kinds of things, you don't know. And so we as the foster community need to be getting this word out. That's why this Saturday, we launch it here in Springfield, but we are going to be doing a national campaign in 2020, and it's all of Foster TV. It's a Foster TV campaign. And Joe Mama will be talking about it on her show, and I know Rad Life will be talking about it, and My Story will be promoting it. But it's same-sex couples make awesome foster parents, and we really want to get that word out, because if there's anybody that questions if they can do it, it seems like it's when I'm at events where there's a lot of same-sex couples. Even down at the market, We are down there on Thursdays and Saturdays here in Springfield. It's like a farmer's market, and we get a lot of same-sex couples that didn't know that they're able to foster. And so we want to spread that from the mountaintops, because we need good foster homes. The more good foster homes we have, the less kids in residential. Rob does not like residential. So there you have it.
There it is.
So do you have any good news today?
I do have some good news. I ran across this story, and it's just an inspiring story of this young woman named Megan Carr, and Megan had a mentor, and unexpectedly her mentor passed away.
Oh.
And so through a course of events, Megan had to move to a new school, and the new school learned of the heartache that Megan had with losing her mentor, and so the entire school welcomed Megan by wearing yellow, which was her mentor's favorite color, and they honored her friend on her 1-year anniversary. So I just thought it was such a beautiful act of kindness. You know, we talk about, you know, what these kids go through in school and how bullying is so, you know, prominent, but there's also kindness, and I think that that's important that we be able to recognize the kindness too.
Yeah, and for all of you young people that are watching, it makes a big impact when we do things and come together for people, and I'm going to tell you, it feels better in the heart too. I don't think there's a better feeling that I ever have than when I get the opportunity to help someone, and I love doing that. But you know what? When you help people, it seems like it always comes back to you. It always comes back to you. And if we would worry less about what people are going to think and worry more about how we can help somebody. And I'm not trying to put this back on me, but one of my best friends, two of my best friends from lots of years, Dad passed away in Atlanta last week, and I love this man that passed away, don't get me wrong, and I wanted to be there. But we drove all night. We left like 10 o'clock at night. We drove all night to Atlanta. We got there like 9 o'clock the next morning, and then the service was that afternoon. And you know how good it made me feel that I could be there for my friends, and that I could, and it was worth every bit of sacrifice, because it was a sacrifice to do that. We have 10 kids. We had to line up and stuff, and I wanted to be there for them. But it just made me feel good that I was able to be there.
I think it's so amazing what kindness can do, and
it starts a chain.
It does. And you know, have you guys heard the Ellen story with Ellen sitting next to President Bush? So there was some video footage of Ellen DeGeneres sitting next to President Bush, and so there was a backlash of, you know, their conflicts or their political views or whatever. And she said, when she says to be kind to everyone, she means everyone. Not only if you have the same political view, or if you're only in the same community or the same school or the same age range or the same sexuality. You just be kind to everyone.
Right. You know, you bring up a good point, and I'm going to go there. And my attorney's probably going to tell me I shouldn't have went there, but you went there. When I went to Haiti after the earthquake, who showed up? Bill Clinton and President Bush together. And what I learned from that experience is we're so caught up in this political stuff right now, and we have all this hate and anger and things going on, but people, what we don't know is like Bush and Clinton, they're friends. And they just put that political stuff aside and they enjoy each other's friendship. Bush probably doesn't like some of the things that Clinton did, and Clinton doesn't like some of the things that Bush did, but they put that aside, and you know what? They showed up together, and they did a lot of work over there, and then come to find out, they're actually pretty good friends. And in the world that we live in, if we could do more of that kind of stuff together, what a better place this will be. And I've just had to just give up on the political stuff, and I just try to post positive things and encouragement, and just not get, because I don't want to ruin relationships over stuff that does matter, but God made us different for a reason. My mom always said, and I'll close with this, if God would have made everybody the same, this world would be a really boring place to live. So thank God. And we should appreciate people's differences and support them when their mentor dies and show up for them instead of getting so hung up on stuff. We will be back on Friday. And Friday we have a really good show for you. And I bet if I think long enough, I'll remember what it's about. No, I know. Joe Mama's going to be hosting with me. And you're going to be talking about some house routines, tips, organization stuff. And you're going to give us a sneak peek into Joe Mama's house. And that's coming up on Friday. We'll see ya.
Help support Foster TV. Go to fostertv.net and make a donation today. Foster TV's My Story is a HEDFRA production. Only on Foster TV.